Palmetto Bell. I can't even speak. The Palmetto Bowl. That's really bad. Palmetto Bowl is over Clemson. Beat South Carolina in Columbia, and they win 16-7. And a very odd game, but folks, I mean, after last year being live at the Clemson game and being up 14-0, the Valley was rocking, and then our then offensive coordinator, now Georgia analyst, Brandon Streeter, decided to stop giving the football to the guy who was hot, and South Carolina couldn't stop the run, but we stopped the run for them by not giving the ball to Will Shipley. After having to sit and watch Clemson lose by 1 point, and then South Carolina for the next 365 days act like they beat Clemson by 10 touchdowns. Tonight, even if Clemson won by 1 point, it was totally worth it. Clemson wins 16-7, as I said. Thank you for joining me on Clemson Football Live. Hope you've subscribed. It's the easiest and free way to support the channel. I do appreciate it. Hopefully you have done that. Folks, this game was not pretty. It was not pretty. I said that Clemson would win the game somewhere along the lines of 24-17 or 27-20. I was wrong. Clemson did win by more than 7 points. They won by 9. But they only scored 16 points. Jonathan Watts came out and kicked a 50-plus yarder, and almost another 50-yarder, and then I can't remember the last one. Khalil Barnes, on the second play of the game, picked up a backwards pass. By the way, did you notice that was a pass out to the wide receiver out in the flats? For some of you who don't know, today I posted during the Michigan-Ohio State game my disgust for the quick pass out into the flats. And I said that most times it doesn't work if you're playing a good football team. And then somebody came on and says, well, that's why you're not a football coach, because if you have the numbers out in the flats. And I said, I don't care if I have the numbers out in the flats. It's not working. I look at the end result. What's the end result? The majority of the time, if you're playing a good football team, it doesn't work. This time, thank you, Lord, it actually worked in Clemson's favor. It was a backwards pass. Khalil Barnes, the freshman, not one of these 7th or 10th year seniors that we have running around because of 2020 and medical red shirts and all that bunch of crap. A guy that was right out of high school, went and picked up the ball, ran it back for the only touchdown of the score, or touchdown of the game. So, I mean, congratulations to him for giving us the only touchdown for Clemson. I said of the game, it's for Clemson. South Carolina did score a touchdown. But congratulations to the Tigers for winning. At this point, I will take it. But I did tell you folks that I was not sold on Clemson's ability to move the football offensively. That I felt like there was going to be some type of lull here. I told you that. And I had people telling me that I was wrong and that basically I was being a pessimist. I had people tell me that, you know, you're looking at the glass half empty when the glass is actually half full. And my response to you is I judge that way different according to where I'm at. If I'm in Uganda and there's no fresh water, I say the glass is half full. But if I'm here in the United States where we have water everywhere and you're not filling up my water, especially if I'm in a restaurant, that the glass is half empty. And tonight, Clemson won, and I'm thankful that they won. I couldn't take hearing the Gamecocks act like they hadn't climbed to the summit of Mount Everest last year, when what they did was they were the recipients of poor coaching, and they won by one measly point. It's still a win, one measly point. So tonight, even if the game was ugly, I'll still take it. I got a bunch of people in here. I hope you subscribe. There's a join button below. Unless you're on an Apple product. For some reason, Apple products don't show the join button. It is so flipping cheap. You won't even miss it. With all this inflation and high gas prices and everything's went up since about the year 2020. You're sitting there going, Brian, I can't afford to it's only $3 per month. I do have a $5 tier, but it's only $3 per month. If you want to do, $5, go for it. I'm going to say hello to a few people, and then I'm going to get into some stats. Philip Medlin's in here. Tiger Red Devil. DP's in here. Got Jackson Brazil. Congratulations, Brian, on y'all's win. Thank you, sir. Tyler, boy, our offense is a nightmare. Happy for the win, but good Lord, that was rough. Yeah, I know. Jonathan Benton, it was ugly, but it's a win. Let me see. There's a bunch of people in here. Peter Minner. It's good to see you, my friend. All right, so let's talk some numbers here. I'm going to fly through these. You can look them up, but I'm going to try to save you some time. Cade Klubnik was 15 of 27, 100 yards and 1 interception. Spencer Rattler, 16 of 32, 112 yards, 1 interception. The leading rusher at halftime was actually Cade Klubnik, but at the end of the game, Phil Maffa, 19 carries, 89 yards. South Carolina's transfer from Newberry College, 13 carries, 35 yards. That's Anderson. Tyler Brown had 5 receptions, 40 yards for Clemson. Xavier Leggett, 6 receptions, 68 yards. Go over some quick stats overall. I'm going to spout these off really quick because you can go look them up. Clemson had 19 first downs. South Carolina's 12 first downs. Clemson was 7 of 16 on third down. South Carolina was 2 of 13. Clemson had 319 total yards. South Carolina had 169 total yards. Clemson's defense played very well tonight. When you think that South Carolina actually played Georgia this year, when you think that South Carolina played, who else did they play this year that was decent? There's another defense I can't remember. They were held to 169 yards, so 112 in the air, 57 on the ground. Clemson threw for 100 in the air. They had 219 yards rushing. Clemson can run the football. Clemson was penalized 6 times for 40 yards. South Carolina was penalized 4 times for 30 yards. South Carolina had 2 turnovers. Clemson had 1 turnover. So South Carolina lost the ball on that fumble that was returned by true freshman Khalil Barnes. And then they had 1 fumble, or 1 interception by Khalil Barnes. And then Cade threw a pass to the back of the end zone. I'm glad that we stretched out there, but it's just, my goodness. He threw an interception there. Great play by the South Carolina defender. And that's pretty much all you have to know about the game as far as the numbers go. Let me see. What was the final numbers for Maffa and Will? Okay, so this is very important. So Maffa finished the game with 19 carries, 89 yards. Will Shipley finished the game 15 carries, 80 yards. Cade Klubnik had 11 carries, 52 yards. So if you put that all together, that's 46 carries, 219 yards. So Clemson ran the ball pretty well during the game. But congrats to Clemson, my boys, for winning the game. I'm going through here. Looking at some comments. Yeah, a lot of the comments it really says this. It was an ugly game. This was what I was afraid of when I was talking about earlier this week when I gave my prediction for the game. I said that if Clemson's offense came out and played well across the board, now you could say, oh, they rushed for over 200 yards. True. I'm talking about passing the ball. Remember, I made this comment a lot this week. My my oldest son is a Gamecock, and he said, in his words, that the Gamecock secondary is so bad that there's pieces of paper that could cover wide receivers better than them. And we could only muster up 100 yards passing. Well, that's because they were putting pressure on him. Folks, would you please stop making excuses for our offense and our lack of performance, especially in the passing game? Would you please stop seeing everything through Clemson-colored glasses? We played way better teams than this, and if you want your team to return to a national championship caliber football team, they should be passing for more than 100 yards on South Carolina. You're accepting the mediocrity. You're accepting it. And though you may not be able to change it, at least you could live in reality. With me, where I live in reality. Yeah, I get some things wrong here and there, but I told you this was going to be a fight, that South Carolina was going to fight hard, and tonight they did. I said Clemson would win the game somewhere around, 24-17, 27-20. I thought the offense would at least get a little more production. I was wrong. Our offense had over 200 yards rushing, but when it came to passing against a terrible South Carolina defense. I'm going to look it up while I'm here live. I could have had this pulled up, but this is just right off the cuff. I'm going to pull up NCAA football stats. And as we speak, I'm going to look up total defense. Total defense. Okay, I'm here in the top 50. South Carolina is nowhere to be found. Let me keep scrolling down. Oh, there's South Carolina at number 94. Let's have a little more fun. Let's see if I can find passing defense. Passing defense. Where's passing defense? For some of you who are just, you got to stop it. I can't find passing defense. What is wrong here? Passing offense, red zone defense, rushing defense. I found total defense. Passing yards allowed. Okay, I guess that would be it. Where's South Carolina? Passing defense. Okay, let's go to the second tab. Passing defense. This is about to get much worse for Clemson. South Carolina is ranked 118th in passing yards allowed, and Clemson could only get 100 yards passing. Okay, folks, look, I'm glad that our Tigers won, and I'm going to enjoy it. But if you want to think that Clemson has fixed some stuff since they went 4-4 this year, losing to NC State, losing to a bad Miami team that wasn't that good. Florida State, it took them 2 overtimes for Florida State, the greatest team that Florida State has had in years. Still took them 2 overtimes against Clemson hobbling in. And you want to think that things are fixed, you need to hold on. Pump the brakes a little bit. Yes, enjoy the victory. Clemson just passed for only 100 yards against a team that's ranked 118th in the pass. Clemson has a lot of work to do. But congratulations to Clemson to at least win. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I got a ton of people in here right now. And folks, I'm not overlooking you because you're not important. There's just so many comments in here. Got some people in here asking a question to Case and Chloe asking, so who do you predict we play in the bowl game? Honestly, I don't know. I really, really don't know. It would be funny if we played Oregon State again. Or played Oregon State again. If we played Oregon State with DJ, that would be funny. Just going through here, seeing a lot of people in here. The real McCoy, hadn't seen you in a while. Good to see you, my friend. Tiger Tom, Clemson finishes second in the running for most anemic offense. Yeah, tell me about it. BGPO, Football Funk. It's been a while, my friends. Good to see you. Michael Till. Michael Till, my friend. I'm glad you're in here. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow. Glad we got the win, but got to have some changes on offense. So let me tell you right now, you're 100% right. I mean, you're 100% right, folks. Now, if you're sitting here watching, just like, look, you're not even happy with a win. Folks, I am telling you, Clemson just played a terrible South Carolina defense. And we couldn't pass for 100 yards on them? Over 100 yards on them? That's crazy. I'm glad we won 16-7. They won by 1 point last year, and once again, you would have thought they'd have came in and beat us by 70 points because that's how little they beat Clemson. Whether they want to admit it or not, they talk. I mean, they're really good at talking trash because that's the only thing they have to do. They can't brag about winning. And you got to think about during that entire time that Steve Spurrier was owning Clemson for that 5-year period that they like to brag about. You have to remember that the best bowl they went to was the Capital One Bowl. They didn't make it to the Orange Bowl. They didn't make it to the Sugar Bowl. They didn't make it to the Cotton Bowl. They made it to the Capital One Bowl. That is the crescendo of their entire football existence. And if Clemson doesn't change something offensively, we'll be joining them very soon. We're going to go to a crappy bowl this year by Clemson standards. A bunch of people are in here. I'm glad you're joining me. Kevin Blackman, I haven't seen you in here in a while. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Yeah, Tiger Gaming 75. I hope Jeff Scott comes back. I really do. We need to get Jeff Scott back in here. When Jeff Scott was involved, things were running better. I've had people tell me in a very snarky way, you need to understand Jeff Scott never called plays. I don't care if Jeff Scott was washing and detailing their cars. If it inspired them to play better football, please, for the love of anything sacred, get that man back because Tony ain't it. Tony was not near as good as everybody thought he was. He won the Brawls Award. Tony started getting his butt out coached. I forsook the run, he said when he had Travis Etienne. Who do you need playing running back for you? Walter Payton or Barry Sanders for you to remember to run the football? You got out coached. He got exposed. And now he's up there at Virginia. Who wants to take a job at Virginia anyway? But my Lord, he's going up to Virginia. He's getting his head ripped off. So Tony's not a terrible football coach, but he's not great. And he's being exposed. Get Jeff back. Get him back. Tell Tyler, we appreciate you as an alumni. We appreciate you coming and trying. But from what I understand, Tyler Grisham's never coached before, and it's showing. We need an offensive line coach that knows what they're doing. We've given this experiment a nice little run. We've given everybody a chance. I feel like Dabo started doing like Oprah. You get a job, and you get a job, and you get a job. No, this needs to be done, folks. The experiment is over. And there's rumors right now that Dabo is the front runner for the Texas A&M job, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. If he goes down there to College Station and he tries to pull the same talking points on those people as he has us in the recent years, where he's got mad at us for, well, holding him to the standard that he created and told us that we should hold him to. The first time he brings up God, they're going to look at him and say, and this is wrong, but the first time he brings up God, they're going to say, listen, the only time that they consider God's name is when they take it in vain. Stop preaching to us and go win football games. That might work on some of the Baptists up here in the upstate of South Carolina, but it ain't going to work on Texas A&M. Hit the transfer portal. Well, I hate it. We don't care. Go hit it. So if he does leave and goes down to Texas A&M and he has any of his same practicing standards that he has had at Clemson, his life will be a living hell. Mark it down that 11/24 on November the 25th, 2023. I told you that. Now, if he goes down to College Station and he makes a bunch of good coaching hires, then we should be irritated with him because he wouldn't do that at Clemson in the past few years. He used to do that. That's what made him a winner. Folks, if I seem a little lackluster, not so happy right now, it's because Clemson just played a really bad game and beat South Carolina by 9 points. Clemson has a lot more talent than what they showed tonight, but at least we won. The play that I did like, and if you go back and watch my halftime video, you'll see that I actually called this. I said, hey, if you're having a problem with this bad South Carolina defense putting pressure on your quarterback, roll him out and throw the ball downfield. Well, they did it. Completed a pass to Tyler Brown. Now, even though the ball was intercepted, I like that they stretched the field there. Clemson is waiting too long to stretch the field. If you want to make your passing game effective, even if the ball is thrown out of bounds, at least call a good passing play downfield to it to let the team know we will throw it downfield on you. You better respect it. You don't want those safeties up. Tar Heel K1969 says, even though Clemson barely won, as a Carolina fan, I would be thankful for a W. I am thankful for the W. I really am. I am just trying to figure out why things are looking so bad. It's SEC dogs in here talking trash. I'm just happy we have an open day cupcake to start the season. Thank you, SEC dog. It's funny, SEC dog. Y'all didn't play us when we had Deshaun Watson. Well, you played us when Deshaun Watson was a true freshman, and his first 2 passes was against y'all, and it made y'all look awful. And then we benched him. But after that, y'all didn't play Clemson the entire time that we had after his freshman year. Watson or Lawrence or even that Kelly Bryant year, and y'all skated by. I mean, it was like we didn't have to play them. Oh my goodness. This is great. A lot of good trash talk. A lot of good trash talk. And that's what's great about rivalries. Talked to my father-in-law tonight. He's a big Gamecock fan. He and I are friends. And we both agreed to say that we would say that we hope that we win, but we know that's not true. We just hope each other is well and fed and okay. It was an ugly game. It was a really ugly game, but I'll take the win, folks. I'll take the win. I'll take the win all day. It's just for me. I'm a long-term guy. I look long-term, and when you see performance like this, you have to know that next year in 2024, yeah, you'll have some learning here and learning there, and some guys who will, become a little better. But unless the execution becomes better, we're going to be staring down a season much like this one next year. And you can't lie to yourself. Or right now you can be honest with yourself and you can fix next season. A lot of people don't like people like me who looks forward and says, "Hey, let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. Let's try to figure out how to fix things. But hey, let's try to fix the foundation before it cracks and falls apart on us." Um, Most people like me are hated. Got a bunch of people in here. Someone just said, someone say Mark Stoops might be going to Texas A&M. Mark Stoops. I'm looking this up, folks. I can't pass this up. Mark Stoops to Texas A&M is likely to happen. Folks, I'm going to tell you this. If A&M fired Jimbo Fisher only to hire Mark Stoops, they proved to me they know nothing about football. I mean, why did you fire Jimbo Fisher? You just gave him a new contract a few years ago. I mean, I thought you had the money to go buy any coach you could, and you go buy Mark Stoops if this is real? Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. You see. We have a chance to be 9-4. That was the last thing I thought of. I thought it 4-4. Thanks, Tyler from Spartanburg. Fits the Roy bus. Man. Well, folks, listen to you. I'm going to let y'all go. I appreciate you being on here. I have 159 people in here. I hope that A, you've subscribed. B, you've hit the thumbs up. All of this is free, by the way. Okay. If you want to support the channel on a monthly basis, there's a join button below here. Now, if you're on an iPhone or an Apple product, you probably don't see it. I don't know why they do that, but it's only $3 per month. So with this terrible economy we've had since about 2020, you can still afford $3 per month if you want to support the channel. Uh, I do appreciate it. Folks, Clemson wins. I know that I went off on a tangent there, and it seems like I'm just not happy. I'm just saying, when I see craziness like I saw tonight and we win, I'm going to be thankful we win, or that we won, excuse me. Somebody's going to correct my grammar. I love it when people correct my grammar. Hey, listen, man, I could really pay attention to your talking points better if you would. I don't know, man. Maybe I need to get Grammarly and just run it through it as I speak. But But I mean, I'm just trying to figure out ways for Clemson to actually sustain winning for a long period of time. That's what I'm looking at, because if Clemson's offense comes out and plays anything like this next season, a bunch of you fans who I was telling after the 2018 season, we got into 2019 and then 2020, and everybody blamed it on what went on there. But I said there's something going on that's avoidable. You're going to have to start to accept, unless you're an idiot or just stubborn, um, that I called it. This is not about just being right. This is the thing about, I'm trying to fix. I'm hoping our team will be fixed. So anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll pass this along to your friends, family, clergymen. Also, Bobby Durkins did a video tonight to celebrate the win. He made fun of the Gamecocks. Please go check it out. Y'all take care of yourself. As always, hey, it's good to beat South Carolina. I don't care if it's by 1 point or 70. It's always fun to beat South Carolina because they always have an excuse. They always have an excuse. They knew they were going to lose tonight when they started talking about their strength of schedule. There you go. Folks, you take care of yourself as always. Go Tigers.